all. Told you I was getting my hair cut, didn't I? Didn't I tell you I was getting my hair cut? Yeah, that's the shit right there. Welcome to Monday, where all the crap has started again. Oosa! We're okay. We're pumped because we had a great weekend, which means Mondays, we kick it in the teeth. All these people are like, oh, it's Monday. And then that joke, is it Friday yet? Did you think of that joke yourself? It's so fucking hilarious. Seriously. It's painfully funny. Tell it me again, please. I hate those people. Is it Friday already? Yeah, you comical fucking hero. It is, of course, Monday. Work has restarted and we are back to our usual selves. I had a wonderful weekend, a really good weekend that was spoiled only by the presence of Ghosty on a wonderful Sunday evening where I was planning to do really boring things. Then we went to transmog. Transmog, the bane of my life. Transmog. For someone who doesn't care about gear, joining in transmog runs sucks. It sucks balls, especially when Ghost's like, let's go watch transmog. Let's go do some transmog. Let's go do some transmog. I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's do that for the next 4 hours. Transmog for life. Transmog is never fun. It's never fun. Never ever fun. I don't enjoy it. I don't. I refuse. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. I didn't like doing Blackwing Lair with Ghost to get his judgment chest or whatever the fuck he wanted at the time, and then he changes to a rogue, and then we've got to do it all again for something else. I don't enjoy it whatsoever. It's horrible. It's horrible, horrible. But I had a great weekend, actually. I just was totally resting myself. I was feeling very burned out. Ugh. I was kind of done, and it was my brother's birthday, who is at the ripe old age of, I'm not telling you. Correct, he's that old where I don't tell you. And we went to a birthday meal, which was really nice, actually. Some people said the place we were going, I think it was about 10 or 11 people, was rubbish and really bad. It was fine. I had a great meal. I had a great time. Me and Ghosty went along. We met a member of Stark Industries who was there. That was quite cool. He was currently dating someone in my family, which was awesome. Got to meet him. And we generally had a great old time. And then Sunday, I just rested. I rested, and then Ghosty came around in the evening, and we did some transmog. And I did the most boring thing in the universe, which you guys who have OCD will hate me for. I cleaned up my PC. I know some people, if one thing is out of place, how many people have nothing on their desktop at all? I don't know how you exist. I really don't. People who just have a blank desktop. Why? There's just one cool picture. I really don't get why you have a blank desktop. I don't have a blank desktop, but I have minimal desktop OCD. Like, I just like the fact that there's stuff on my desktop which I use. So I have about 3 rows of things, and they're okay. 3 columns, I should say. 3 columns of things that I use all the time for editing and videos and stuff and stuff and stuff. And some games that I play, like WoW is on my desktop, you know, things like that. But when I'm editing, I have everything set. Okay, I have every program set, and I use about 7 or 8 different programs to create a video, and it dumps everything to the desktop. Now, there's a good reason for that, is because I need to access these files all the time. For one video, I might be working with upwards of 60 different files, so I need them all easy access. So everything that I use or modify in some shape or form is dumped directly to my desktop. I made, what, like 9 videos last week and edited them together. My desktop had reached the final column. It had gone all the way across the screen and had reached the final column and was almost full. And that was it. My OCD was like, oh my god, I have far too much shit on it. And people, I know if like anybody had OCD about desktops, would lose their shit if they looked at my desktop. It was even annoying me. So when Ghost came around, I finally turned on the PC for the first time over the weekend and was ready to do this. It took me like an hour just to clean up the desktop, just to delete stuff, put stuff in folders. I've got all sorts of reports and data I need to sort and organise, and then it goes further, doesn't it? It's like when you clean a room. There's no such thing as, one does not simply clean a room. One needs to drag everything out and figure out which shit no longer belongs, and you go, I'm going to go and do a really good clean of the room. 20 minutes later, it's nuclear bomb. It's frost shocks time. There's shit everywhere. And you are in the middle of this war. It looks like fucking Afghanistan or some shit. And you're walking all over the place and you're like, nobody move! I know where everything is. This pile of shit here is stuff that no longer belongs. This pile of shit here is things that need putting away once I'm dealt going through the big pile of crap over here, okay? Nobody come near me, stay the fuck away, and then your dog walks in and just goes... Like an Enderman. Very much. My Ben is like an Enderman in Minecraft. He comes in, he just picks shit up, he moves it over there. And then you don't know what the fuck's happening. And you're trying to throw it all in a bag and you're like, dude, I wanted to keep that. Why is that in this one? Why is that here? What the hell is going on here? What is this? And then Ben sits there with that smiling little face to say, I just trolled you so effing hard. It's retarded. I really did just completely dominate you. So I then had to go into the Fraps drives, into the movie folders, all that kind of stuff, all the music files, delete all the duplicates. Oh, it took me ages. And then we did a transmog, which was pretty cool, actually. I like playing with all you guys. That's the only advantage of doing transmog. It's a great way to spend time with you guys. We could just invite anybody who happens to be online watching the stream. Come on down. We'll go and do some Tempest Keep. We'll go and do some Serpent Shrine Cavern. We'll go and do some Firelands. Motherfucking Firelands for 3 hours or whatever, however long we were there. We'll go and do all those things. And that's one of the cool things about transmog, is I get to do stuff with you guys. And that's awesome. In other good news, before we move on to WoW related stuff, Curse, who are of course the people I am partnered with, have got a load of music. Finally, one of the big drawbacks of being with Curse is they had no music. TGN, as bad as they were when we dealt with them, had vast libraries of music. From wub 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 step to rock to epic tunes, all sorts of crazy stuff, including legitimate bands that had made good music, and we could use all that music in our videos. Going with Curse, we couldn't use any music. We couldn't use a damn thing. It's all copyright protected. But now they've got some music, and it came through today, and I was like, oh! I was like a kid in a china shop. I was going through every song. I was like, this is so good. I know where I can use this. And plus it means the Way of the Warrior 2 will have good music in it now. Yeah! Alright! Good music! Thank God. And it means I can do some more montage-y type stuff. Not silly stuff, but just fun montage-y type stuff. We've been writing, me and Ghosty were talking about a clip. We're going to do some little 3-minute things. And a little inkling as to what the first one is. It will be Brad's journey in tanking. Just to give you an idea of what it will be. It's pretty funny. In doing that, I had to tank a dungeon in the style of Brad. That was really hard. That was really, really hard. It was really, really hard, but I got through it. Yeah, I kind of felt sorry for my group. But you know what the hilarious thing is? Nobody said anything. I was the worst tank in history. Nobody said a word. It was completely normal. It was absolutely normal. I was doing the most stupid things in history. Just to get some footage of doing things wrong. And yeah. Nobody said anything. The healer was near enough every pack. Never said a word. He was like, this is fine. This is fine. This is just a normal tank, right? This guy's completely doing things correctly. No, absolutely not. It was funny. It was funny. I only had one person leave the group. But you'll see all that in the upcoming video. That's going to be some sort of midweek, maybe Friday kind of thing. And of course it is Webshow weekend. Get your bro fist sent in. And where we're going to be announcing what we're going to do over the Christmas period and how you guys can get involved with that for some Christmassy stuff. We're coming into December. Not only when I was born, my birthday is in December, but also Christmas and New Year, all that good shit. We'll be announcing all kinds of stuff on Saturday to get us ready for that lovely wintry month. So, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about some WoW stuff. There wasn't much in gaming news. The only gaming news I found relevant was a tricky piece of crap Microsoft have announced. That the new DirectX 11.1 and further versions going forward will only be available on Windows 8. Lots of us don't like Windows 8. I've tried Windows 8. Sucks. It makes my life incredibly hard. I am back on Windows 7. So, yeah, the new DirectX will only be on Windows 8, including versions going forward. It's not too bad to start with. It's only if you like using 3D glasses with your games. We've talked about 3D in the past, don't we? We don't give a fuck. Seriously, the amount of fucks I give about wearing 3D glasses while I game is zero. Absolutely zero. I don't want to see 3D films. I certainly don't want to sit in front of my PC with a pair of 3D glasses on. That's just me. Some of you will enjoy 3D glasses, I'm sure. But we did have a bit of a vote a while back and nobody really cared. But yeah, if you use 3D glasses, you're going to be a little bit fucked with DirectX 11.1 because it's going to make things better. But there will be DirectXs going forward with 3D gaming stuff. In terms of not actual glasses 3D, we're not going to be able to get it if you don't have Windows 8, which is kind of shitty. Right, that's the other thing. A big grats to Bloodlegion. Why not? Got the world first in Heart of Fear. Grats to them. Nice one to pick it up. Now we're looking forward to the Endless Spring, the Terrace of the Endless Spring, and see who picks up the overall world first for this tier of content. This is all still tier 14, if you didn't realise. There's one more raid to go, the Terrace of the Endless Spring. We'll see who picks that one up. Still voting for Method. But Bloodlegion managed to slap everybody in the face this time with big hairy balls. More than grats to them. That's pretty cool. This is the last time I am going to speak on dailies, right? It's becoming sort of a daily thing for me. I don't want to do the dailies in the game, let alone talk about them too much. So they've done another... Blizzard is just so fucking defensive over these dailies. It's driving me mad. Which is why I'm just not going to speak on it unless there's some dramatic development in this whole daily content thing. I'm not going to mention it again. A lot of people are sending me suggestions, ideas, how can they change it, blah, 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 blah. I understand you guys are pissed with them. I was pissed with them. Ghost is pissed with them. Lots of people are pissed with them. Blizzard is being very defensive over it. So I'm going to talk about it one last time, and then I'm going to leave it alone. And then I'm going to do some questions from you guys, and then I'm going to walk Ben. That's going to be my plan for today. Okay, so it was from a developer meeting that this last thing came up. And they touched on a number of subjects, including PvP and CC. Now, I'm just getting back into PvP. I'm still kind of learning which classes I'm now powerful against, which classes I am not powerful against, more importantly, and ways of countering that. If I'm powerful against a class, I tend not to be too bothered. The challenge lies in, of course, the classes we are not powerful against, and how can we deal with those? Namely, Resto Shaman for me at the moment. I'm dealing rather troublingly with them. I've met 4 or 5 now and never really enjoyed any of those encounters whatsoever. Like a raid boss to me. So I'm not going to talk too much about the PvP stuff. I just want to, again, just touch briefly on this. Really briefly on the daily stuff. It's been done to death. We've argued and argued that it's not working. The whole system is just not working. It's too many dailies. People feel forced to do them. Blizzard says you're not forced to do them. But there is things that occur from doing the dailies which are very important to your character progression, regardless of the reputation. We know about this, hidden loot and all that kind of stuff. So Blizzard's got even more defensive on this. I am all for Blizzard standing their ground. I think that's brilliant. I like them not catering to the masses too much. They've done that a lot in the past, and it generally leads to bad things. That doesn't mean we discount everything the community is saying, and this is a very large topic at the moment because people are pissed off with it, and Blizzard's trying to defend it by saying you don't have to do them. This is one of those times that doesn't strictly apply, because no matter what walk of life you're in, extra chances at loot is extra chances at loot. That's the be all and end all of it, and so many people play for loot, and that's going to draw us onto one of our questions later. So they kind of got too defensive on it. They kind of got too defensive on it to the point where they almost suggested we just can't think of any other way to make this interesting. And this is not something we want to hear from Blizzard, is how can we make it better? Tell us how to do it. No, we pay you to do this because you are the game developers. We're not the game developers. Sometimes we have good ideas. Sometimes we have average ideas, and sometimes, and most of the time, we have very, very bad ideas. And as a game developer, you're the guys who are paid the millions to decide those answers, and of course come up with your own shit. It's no good us saying, well, why don't you make them bi-daily or twice a week or whatever, and then that's just implemented. What we want is to come up with some suggestions, and they'd say, okay, we've taken all this information, but this is what we've come up with, and it's totally fucking awesome. And we were like, wow, we didn't even think you could do that. I know, right? We're Blizzard, motherfucker. You better back this shit off, okay? We can design anything we want. Your ideas are cool based on a system that already exists. We've just come up with a new system, and it owns. And it owns hard. That's what we want to see. We want to see, well, this kind of works, that kind of doesn't work. Okay, well, here's something totally fucking awesome to blow your mind away. That's what we want to see. Holy crap, what just happened? Go away. Okay. So the community's getting back with the next piece, and the next people are just replying. What we have now at this stage of the game is a combination of people. One who play a hell of a lot and are almost done, if not complete, with their reputations. They're done with it. It doesn't matter. Now they are the ones joining the forum saying, nah, I've done them, you know, and you don't really have to do it. It wasn't that hard. Newsflash, a hell of a lot of people just don't have the time to complete them. I'm talking especially for those on higher populated realms where certain dailies are a real pain in the ass. And they maybe skipped a few days. It's a long, laborious process that is continuing on. It's okay to be finished with your dailies and then mock others. That's called being an elitist prick. Welcome to that world. You are one of those guys. Congratulations to you. You suck balls. Blizzard's backing it up. They aren't essential. They aren't essential. You're not going to die if you don't do a daily. Okay, we get that. But it's really helpful. And so it keeps going backwards and forwards. And ultimately, this does end with, stop twisting our words! Okay, because ultimately, Blizzard was saying, we know they're not amazingly interesting. And the carrot of getting items is, of course, an incentive to do them. So the community feedback was, so what you're saying, if we read between the lines and twist that slightly, is if there was no incentive and no carrot, people just wouldn't do them because they're fucking crap. And they got very touchy over that. Like, no, we're not saying that whatsoever. And then they go into an entire tirade over how the community is twisting their words. And if you keep doing that, we just won't reply to you because you're going to twist their words. I think it's a fully fair comment. The overreactive response to this was kind of, it was justified in one way. The community is very, does twist things a lot that Blizzard says to try and suit their own argument. Very dangerous thing to do. But I think it is a very fair comment that is, if these dailies didn't reward gear, would you still be doing them? Ask yourself that question. If the lesser charms just didn't exist, it was just reputation for recipes, for, you know, tailoring bags. Maybe there's an odd item recipe in there. Would you still be doing them? I don't think you would. I think most of us could be quite honest and say, I would probably be working on 1, maybe 2 at most. Unless you're some diehard who wants all the reputations ASAP, you probably wouldn't be doing them. You'd be doing a few, sure, but if they didn't reward things like Valor items, Honor items, as they did in the past, and of course, Epic, the chance to get more loot from bosses, would you still be doing them? I seriously doubt you would be. I very much doubt you would be. And Blizzard was not happy with that. Like, no, they're good. So the final comment on this, which is what I want to leave this subject on as a whole, unless something massive develops, was a very common sense, to the point post by a member of the community, which is, people are complaining that the dailies are boring, tedious, laborious, they take a long time to do, not necessarily that they're always taking a long time to do. So some realms don't have that issue. Some realms do not have that issue. They can get through their dailies very, very quickly. But they're boring as fuck, and there's a lot of them to do. This is where it gets a little bit weak from Blizzard's part, and it worries me a little bit. So what should be changed on dailies? And you're not allowed to answer that they should be removed. You can't say that. Don't say they should be removed. That kind of indicates a couple of things to me. One, they truly believe daily quests are a good idea. I have never known anybody to say daily quests were a good idea until, only possibly in Wrath of the Lich King, where they were a huge source of income. I don't think many of us minded doing daily quests around about the end of the Burning Crusade on the Sunwell Isles either. I don't think we cared too much, as at the time they were new. Very careful about things being popular because they are new, and the daily quest hub system was actually very new then. It also rewarded a cool title, access to some really nice items, everything it kind of does now, but it was different. It was all put together, so the actual Sunwell Isle quest could all be done in one big go, in a loop with your friend, and you could just circle the island and get everything done. It was a very quick process. I don't think the Sunwell Isle dailies took more than around 20-25 minutes. I might be looking a bit rose-tinted there. If they were longer, say so in the chat. But I don't think they were more than 20-25 minutes for around 11 to 12 quests, I want to say, that rewarded good gold, good rep, good items. I don't think that's a problem. I thought that was pretty cool. In Wrath of the Lich King, people still weren't really sure on how to make a lot of gold, and some good daily quest hubs rewarded them for that, like the Ardent Crusader grounds. They were very cool and very popular. They rewarded a lot of gold. They also rewarded cool pets like the Argent Gruntling, which was a mobile bank before we had goblins, of course. They rewarded mobile banks, which is awesome. Mobile mailboxes, very useful stuff. Stuff like that isn't necessary. Okay? It's not a necessary reward. You don't need a mobile bank. But fuck me, is it convenient? Fuck me, is it convenient? That is awesome. That is a cool item. It's the only thing I did the dailies for. I didn't need gold. I didn't need gold, but I did those dailies purely out of choice. And it wasn't for an item that I needed. It wasn't for a piece of gear that I needed. It was for something better, which was a convenience, a quality of life improvement, which was fantastic. And Wrath of the Lich King was full of dailies everywhere. If you loved doing dailies, you were never short of dailies in Wrath of the Lich King. I think we used to do them on a Saturday. I recall me and Genji, I would do the Argent tournament probably every day. I even recall Ghost doing them on multiple characters. But the Ice Crown ones, the group quests, me and Genji would spend a Saturday probably doing all the dailies we could. And it was pretty cool. That was okay. And it was once a week, purely by choice. Some items, some gold, some rep. Awesome. Nothing major, nothing I needed to work on. It wasn't a case of I got something mega for completing that reputation. And I did it out of fun. There's a very fine line with incentives as to whether they are something you need or something you want. Want and need, very, very different things. Do we need better gear in World of Warcraft? Of course we do. Saying you don't need better gear is really silly. It's really silly because you will do more damage. You will tank better. You will heal better. And therefore, you'll probably have a lot more fun. So gear leads to more fun in World of Warcraft in most occasions. You start seeing outrageous DPS numbers. An unkillable tank can heal outrageous situations. Tends to lead to more fun, does gear. Really helps you out. Also helps you if you're not a very good player. It helps you bypass looking like a bad player. If you have essentially overgeared healing, then you can cope with situations that maybe you couldn't have dealt with lower gear because of your style of play. I'm not saying that's a brilliant thing, but it also helps. And then you have wants. I kind of want the turtle mount. I kind of want a mobile bank. Okay, then I'm going to work on it, but it's not essential. I don't need it. I'm fine without it. I've coped for 3 expansions without it. I can do that kind of thing. So Blizzard suggested, what would we do to make them more fun? So let's discuss that. Let's leave some comments in the YouTube video. What would we do to make them more fun? I think dailies should probably stay as they are. I would remove the lesser coins of charm. I don't think they're helping any situation whatsoever. I think they're an atrociously bad idea. I would like to see them turn to gold or just dissolved in patch 5.1. Let's just get rid of them. They're not fun. They cause more frustration than they're worth. People will absolutely believe 100% that by using these gold coins they should get an item, and it only creates more frustration that not only is the boss not dropping your item, but now you've used... People will be going, I've used 13, 14 gold coins. And there will be that guy who's used 20 to 25 coins and still not got an item from it, which is hundreds of hours of life wasted to get those coins. And that is extremely dangerous. It's just unnecessary. It doesn't need to be there. Everyone complained throughout the history of the game that items did not drop for them. This doesn't change that situation at all. It's still occurring to this day. It doesn't change it. The chance of getting it is the same as if it dropped the boss. You might as well have had an extra kill. Cool. But it's personal. It's not really working out overall. I would like to see that removed. And I would absolutely love to see some 10 5-man group quests come in that were legitimately challenging. I think back to some of the cool dailies I did in the past, such as the Shatari Skyguard. That's me thinking, in TBC. There's a boss in the Shatari Skyguard. I can't remember the name of the area. But you used to go up there and there would be a boss who took pretty much 5 people to kill. It took 5 people to kill that, pretty much, even in decent gear. That's cool. In Oggrolar, you could gather the crystals and then spawn bosses, which then were more difficult to do, and group stuff. That promotes a much better community. Much better community of friends being in a guild. Does anybody want to do the Oggrolar quest? Good chance that if it's a daily thing, yeah, you can go and do that. Go out and fight some fierce bosses and spawn some extra stuff into the open world. If it's a case of getting people out into the world and not just sitting in Ogrimmar or Stormwind, let's do that. I would love to see some more group content come in. Group quests were something that were completely annihilated in Mr. Pandaria. For the first time ever, all the way through, there is no group quests whatsoever. Everything can be done solo. Pretty bad move. This is an MMO, right? Let's get some stuff together. I enjoyed people asking, let's sync Wrath of the Lich King. And I've not done so many good Wrath of the Lich King references in so long, my god. So in Wrath of the Lich King, how many times did you see, especially in the Dragon Wastes, I want to say, people asking to do the 5-man dragons? There was 4 quests from one guy, which were all 5-man sort of ogres or giants, I believe they were. They were the big horse minotaur dudes. You know, they weren't in Icecrown. They weren't in Icecrown. But they were big stuff out there. So yeah, some people saying scenarios. How many people are repeating scenarios? Go, 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 Dragonblight. Okay, so we talk about Dragonblight, that kind of outdoor group thing. You see in trade chat, things going on, there's discussion going on, there's people trying things, there's some PvP to be had there, all very well and good. Let's talk about scenarios. How many people, just do a quick, while I move on to the questions, I just want to say a quick 1 or 0. 1 if you are repeatedly doing scenarios. I'm interested, I'm genuinely interested. And 0 if you've done a scenario once, and that's it. You just couldn't be asked with it at all. So I just want to see a 1 if you're doing scenarios repeatedly, like they're group quests or group dailies, or if you're not doing them at all. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, half, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Anybody watching the chat right now can see exactly how scenarios are working out. Now let's ask this other question. How many of you tried to do the 5-man quest if you were playing during Wrath of the Lich King in Dragonblight? How many tried to do that? Because they were brilliant XP, good rewards, blah, 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 gave items. 1 and 0 again. Same thing. Same thing. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Point proven. Okay? It's far more fun to be out there. The queuing up system was great when it first came in. I think the queuing up system was like, yay, it's new. Kind of like Keldanas Dailies. I remember the name Keldanas. Fuck yes. Keldanas Dailies. It was amazing. And very quickly tapered off. Very quickly tapered off. The LFD thing is a lovely quality of life, especially for DPSers. I think we have to make that abundantly clear, is that the LFD system is abundantly helpful for DPSers. But it's not the solution to everything. Looking for raid, I get why it exists. We spoke about this in the past. I don't believe it should drop loot. I get why it's there. Scenarios does not make up for outdoor group quests with people meeting up, running into people who are there. You've also got the heroes who try and solo things, who won't invite you to the group and all that kind of stuff. There's a bit of back and forth there. You like remember that guy. That's interesting play to me. He's like, that guy's a fucking douche, man. He's like killing this 5-man mob on his own. I get that. Just invite me, prick. It's no need to prove the point. Like, this is my mob. I have claimed him. Fucking a-hole. That's like Ghost. You'll go up to Ghost who's soloing a 5-man boss and like just say, just invite me. For the love of God, just invite me. And he'd be like, nah, I'm not doing it. Nah, I'm going to do it myself. Right, I'm going to take some questions before I go and walk Ben. This one's going to be kind of a big one. It's actually the smallest question I receive. In general, I usually receive questions that are like essays, really big stuff. This is a different one. I'm going to answer this short, and then I'm going to do kind of a day on this. Think about Thursday. I'm going to talk about gear. Gear should be my big topic of the week, so you should start thinking about that. Gear, it's an importance in playing to you and to everyone else. So we'll talk about it on Thursday, so get questions ready for that. I want a healthy discussion. This is from one of you guys. You say gear is no problem. Then why is it always used as an incentive for killing a boss? You must have felt awesome wearing badass gear and enjoy using it for helping other guys out to cap points. Okay, gear. I've said this in the past. I'm in the vast minority of people who really doesn't care about gear. My sole purpose for playing World of Warcraft for the longest time was raiding. And that was not to do with gear. I loved killing new bosses. And most people who know me know that farm raids are the worst thing in the fucking universe. I hate them. I detest farming gear. I really dislike it. I think it's just such a time sink waiting for bosses to drop loot. Of course I could use my coins and guarantee the loot, right? Oh yeah, of course I could do that. But I don't like farming gear. I don't like farm raids. I want to kill the boss once and never see him again. I would be quite a fan of people. There are some guilds who have tried this in the past who just extended their raid lock continuously so they never had to kill the previous bosses again. I was very hopeful that that might be the new hard mode. I would love to see that. I really would. Is that you literally kill the boss once and then you can't kill the first boss again until you kill the last boss. I would love to see that as hard mode, where it's literally how good are you? Can you cope with this? Of course, the bosses would have to be designed properly, but I would love that. That would be ideal for me, is you literally kill the boss, you go on to the next boss, and you can't come back and farm gear, and I would love that to be part of the game. I really would, to stop people thinking it's all about gear. Of course, we can't do that to everybody. Some people rely on gear to cover their own faults, and that's fine. Gear as an incentive. I'm in the minority, and I am very much aware that the majority of players value gear above anything else in this game. And that's cool, and I can totally see why. You only have to spend 5 minutes with Ghosty and see how passionate he is about how his character looks. You only have to literally see him spend 5 minutes on Mogget to understand how much he cares about that stuff. And I know that he is, along with a hell of a lot of people. And that is something I take into account a lot. Is people, when Ghosty's streaming, obviously when Ghost streams, he's usually at his place and not here. But he was streaming yesterday while I was getting over my things. And people are pasting in Moggets. They're swapping backwards and forwards. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Let's do all this kind of stuff. So many people all talking and getting into a discussion about how their character looks. I would be a liar to say at some point I wasn't the guy who stood on the mailbox with my gear. I have done that. I did it during my elitist phase of playing WoW. When I had some tier 3, I was the guy stood in Orgrimmar on my troll priest, so it obviously looked shit, wearing my latest gear. When I got my benediction, in fact, which so many people on the server had at the time, I was fucking pretty chuffed in walking around with my benediction on. I was also extremely pleased when I got my Bulwark of Azeroth, and I think only one other tank had it on the server. No, 2 other tanks, and they were both in my guild, had it on the entire server. And I was Tauren, so I looked the best. The other guys were a Blood Elf and an Undead. I was the Tauren warrior, full tier 6, with the Bulwarkers of Azeroth. I was a fucking badass. And yes, I did feel good wearing that. But ever since then, never have I cared that much. I've always been so caught up, but I have a different perspective. I've always been so caught up in the race and been at the cutting edge of progression. Even if it was a top 100 guild down to number 1, it doesn't matter. That's cutting edge stuff. That I always kind of had amazing gear by default, by proxy. I always had it. It was nothing I had to work for. Just the fact that I was doing my goal of raiding allowed me to enjoy that. But I never benefited from it. I would literally, this is what I would do. I would raid, let's say during Cataclysm, which is the kind of last major raiding I've done. I would raid, kill Sinestra. I think we had a realm first on that. And collect loot. Go straight to the vendor. Turn in the token or whatever it would be. Or reforge it and log the fuck out. That is what I would do. No one would ever see my gear. The closest you would ever see to seeing my items was logging in to check the bank, check the auction house, and then going off to the raid. I would log in, go and do that, then leave again. No one would ever see my gear. I was so far away from caring about my gear. The only time it ever really bothered me of recent memory is like right now, where my gear is just vastly low. My gear is really low at the moment, so I'll be working on that soon enough. I'm going to get back into raiding pretty soon. I've nearly done all the WoW guides. But gear is an incentive. It has to be the reward, because so many people care about gear. It's not uncommon to see people quit guilds over gear. If they feel they deserve an item and it doesn't drop, or it drops and goes to someone else, they will leave your guild. It doesn't matter if they've been there for 3 years. The gear is super important to a lot of people. When I say gear is not an incentive, what I mean, in answer to the question, is that it's not an incentive for me. It's not an incentive for me. It's not why I play. It's not what I care about. If someone has their butt hurt about an item that I just won, take it. I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. It will drop again. And if it doesn't, care. I'll get something next time. I really don't care. The final question I wanted to go on was kind of like back to an old school newbie question, which was cool. And this one from Pasalrin, who's a 64 blood DK on the Storm Rage in the US. And he was asking, he's playing a Draenei DK, and he's just getting into DKs. He's been watching the videos, likes the look of the DK. Good, because they're awesome. Death Knights are fucking really cool. Has been doing some research on my videos and some other websites about a basic rotation while leveling through my 60s. Currently 64. I've been icy touching, plague striking to get diseases up because I don't have no outbreak. Then blood boiling or pestilencing to get diseases spread. My God, I would give anything for roiling blood when I was leveling my DK. Holy shit. I think I want to play my DK tonight. I might stream later. I've got 2 videos to upload. Survival Hunter's going up tonight. I might play my DK tonight. I kind of feel like playing my DK. And then start using Heartstrike. The problem is that sometimes I feel that I'm waiting for runes to regenerate and losing threat. Am I doing something wrong? I know that I got Horn of Winter as a filler at 65. Should I be doing that in the meantime? Or should my rotation at 65 be Icy Touch, Plague Strike, Pestilence, Heartstrike, Heartstrike, Horn of Winter, Heartstrike, Horn of Winter, or what? Quick question to the audience. When do you get Rune Strike? Do you not get Rune Strike? Am I wrong? Well, is Rune Strike a high level ability? I thought you got that when you spec Blood. I'm right? If you spec Blood, you get Rune Strike. Or am I wrong? I just want to check before I answer this question like a complete newbie. 60. So okay, so he hasn't got Rune Strike yet. Oof. I was about to be a total sarcastic arsehole. I was like, you're supposed to Rune Strike, you noob. But I thought there must be a reason he's not mentioned it. Okay, so you're basically using Death Coil then, right? You'll be using your Death Coil. Now, still use Death Coil because that regenerates you runes. So you need to still be using your Death Coil as a tank. And then eventually you'll get to change it to Rune Strike, which is cool. So you'll still have that way of dumping runic power. That'll be still part of your rotation. So you have that to do in the meantime. You're not waiting for Horn of Winter. You should be using your Death Coil, which is all good. But this is one of the key things, and this is, I picked this question because it applies to all tanks, people who are leveling tanks. I'm getting a lot of these questions, especially about the Brewmasters. People trying out the Monk's Brewmaster is like, I'm losing threat, I'm doing this and this. The big thing I want to instill in you for the end of this question, doesn't matter what abilities you have, you are more than capable of holding threat. What you need to be doing is stop believing that you need to wait till all the mobs die before you move on. That is absolutely not the case. It really is not. And then you go to the next pack before the DPSs finish with the previous pack, and then you start doing a lot more threat on those than the DPSs can possibly do. Okay? This is one of the things that people really struggle with, and why tanks who pause after each pack. So as a DK like yourself who's waiting for runes to regenerate, you will be probably stopping in between packs to regenerate runes. It's a very bad habit to get into. You'll become a much slower tank, and you'll also have DPS who are impatient pulling before you. Now you're fighting to get threats. It's terrible. You don't want it to do that. What you need to be doing is getting in early, getting a ton of threat done. Spam your heart strikes to your heart's content, get your diseases up. Don't worry too much about diseases in early levels. They won't last long enough. And get them threated up. You've got aggro on them. Then you look to the next pack, but you're actually waiting while doing that. So you're getting your runes back while you're still tanking the other pack. And then you might have 1 or 2 runes to get onto your next pack. Now, I don't think you mentioned Death and Decay there, but Death and Decay might be a higher level ability. It might be. But you've got Blood Boil. Blood Boil's OP anyway. So you want to then be charging off into the next pack and getting your runes used on the next pack. I'm not saying leave when the other mobs are at 90%. That would be crazy. But once you start seeing your mobs hitting 50% that you're currently tanking, start waiting, regenerating runes, doing all that kind of stuff. Then you charge off into the next pack. Okay? And you start using your runes then and rinse and repeat. Once you start seeing mobs getting to 50% health, that's when you start regenerating. As a warrior, I make sure I've got enough rage to get into the next pack, pop a defensive cooldown, because that's all we spend our rage on right now. Thanks, Blizz. It's really fun. And then I'm not going to die while my healer catches up. With monks, you have a slight disadvantage. I need to do a video on low-level monk tanking. There is the most dangerous thing in the world with low-level monk tanking. And I'm going to answer this now, although it gets asked a lot. But it wasn't a direct question. Is I'm dying a lot while low-level monk tanking. Your biggest enemy in the world as a low-level monk tank is fucking roll. Roll is a nightmare. You know why? Because you are so far ahead. It is ridiculous. And people are slow. People are extremely slow. And then you have an ability that makes you go incredibly fast and far away. And people never catch up to you in time. I found myself continuously while low-level tanking being on the map, distinctly far away from the rest of the group, and having to roll my way back because I was just chain pulling all the way, and the only times I died on my monk was because I was so far away from the rest of the group and they were chasing after me slowly, looting, skinning, mining, herbing, whatever the fuck them people might be doing. I ended up so far ahead that I had to roll back to get heals or I was going to die. It happened to me all the fucking time. So be very careful, you low-level monks who are trying to get out, especially until you get level 36 and you just get an overwhelmingly idiotic amount of abilities that really make you super powerful. Be careful of your fucking roll. Be careful, you'll go too fast. Alright, ballers, I'm going to take it easy now because Emma's letting the dog in, which means it's time to go. Hello! Ben, come here! Everyone likes to see Ben. Ben's feeling much better, by the way. I'm going to take your questions tomorrow because he needs walking. Emma feels sick. I'm surrounded by ill people. Show me your belly. Bro fist! Yeah! And thank you all of you who sent messages regarding Ben. He's feeling much better. We didn't have to get him x-rayed. He's feeling much, much better. He was ill for... He was actually felt much better after I spent the night with him. True story?
Yeah.
See? One night with Preacher, you're good to go. Oh, yeah! See you tomorrow.